Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Chicago Style Parenting, where we delve into parenting life in Chicago and uncover the resources, information, and support that Chicago families need. I'm your host, Sitaara, and today's episode is one I'm especially excited about. We're joined by Tareema Jean-Baptiste, the Early Childhood Special Education Family Professional Development Resource Specialist for StarNet Region 5 here in the city of Chicago, and the keynote speaker for our upcoming Developmental Differences Parent Forum. Tareema brings both deep professional expertise and personal passion to her work. She's a dedicated advocate for her two sons, one who is autistic and epileptic, and one with ADHD. And she has an incredible ability to help families navigate complex systems while feeling seen and supported along the way. She was also previously the programs manager right here at NPN, where she built inclusive family-centered programming. So she's truly a part of our community. Tareema, I'm so glad to have you here today.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very excited to talk to you again and see your face again. So, and even more excited that you are going to be our keynote speaker this year.
Oh, well, I'm excited to be. I left NPN as the programs manager, but I am never left NPN as a parent, and I'm excited to be back, and I'm honored to be the keynote, and I'm excited to speak to you. We've collaborated on so many things, but never like this. So thank you.
Yeah, no, this is great. It's long overdue. But yeah, I really wanted to take some time to get to know you a little bit more. So I have a couple of questions to help our audience get to know you a little bit more and fall in love with the Tareema that we all know and love so well.
Okay.
All right, so let's start off with just telling us a little bit more about your journey, both as a parent and as a professional. What led you to this very important work that you do today?
Honestly, the parent side, I had no clue about, as most parents who have a child with disabilities, this journey, we don't choose this journey, it chooses us. And I had no clue about this world. And just through advocacy or the what I was doing for my child, what I was doing for my son, um, led me to this. And it was really people in my circle, my son's pediatrician, who would constantly call me and say, "Hey, I have this family. Can you speak to them?" And I'm like, "Sure." And a friend, other friends of friends who were like, "Hey, we have this other family. They're going through some, do you mind speaking to them?" Okay. I really didn't think I was doing anything special or different. Honestly, I still don't think I'm doing anything special or different. I just think I was just surviving, and I was open to helping other families survive. So, yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. And I mean, you were clearly just so naturally fit for being that advocate and
Oh, thank you.
figuring out a way to survive, like for your pediatrician to reach out to you and other families to kind of refer you to speak with other families is huge. And that says a lot about your character and your personality. Um, so that's like kind of how it looked on the outside, but inside of your house, like I know you are a fierce advocate for your son. Oh my gosh, I've had the pleasure of meeting your children. They are like truly amazing. Some of the best kids I've
Oh.
ever met. Um, but like inside of your family unit, what exactly did that advocacy look like, especially during the early years when you were really piecing things together and trying to figure things out?
Honestly, it looked like research.
Mm,
This is going to sound, it doesn't see, it looked like research. Going back to this journey chooses us, right? This world that you're thrown into. And it looked like me taking the time to sit and just go down the many, many wormholes of information.
yeah.
Um, because what I did pick up on very quickly is that there were systems in place that if I didn't come with knowledge, that I know, I could feel, I could sense that I may not get the best for my child. So I better know, right? So it looked like me staying up, sometimes not sleeping. I'll be honest with you. I'm not condoning that, take care of yourself. I've learned that. I've learned. But in those earlier years, yeah, I was like really staying up, going down wormholes. When I wasn't working with my child, I was, okay, working for my child in the form of on my laptop, reading articles, reading the law. I have read IDEA at least 8 times, and that is a big piece of law to read. But I never wanted anyone else to tell me about my child. And I wanted to be able to speak from a place of knowledge. So it really research. That's what advocacy looked like in the early years for me. I always tell parents, advocate in your home first and come from a place of knowledge. And that starts with research.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember coming to you and speaking to you very openly. You were one of the first people I spoke to that was not in our family care system about my son's speech delay. And
Mm-hmm.
you immediately were like, nope, make sure you have this, make sure you look into this. Your school system should be able to provide this. And I was just like, I felt like I needed a notepad and a pen so that I could take notes. But it was very apparent that you had done your research and you knew that without taking certain steps, I would get overlooked or my concerns would not be, heard the right way, or action would not be taken. So, I mean, I can personally speak to the support that you provided me and my family, and just knowing the things that you had spent so much time looking into, for your own family, and being able to apply that to other families and help them is a profession, which is exactly why you are, in the position that you're in today. So it's incredibly, incredibly helpful.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure for me to help. It really is.
Yeah. As we talk through some of those services and supports, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges you face while navigating it all? And what did it teach you?
Um, One of the biggest challenges early on, I went up against one of the biggest insurance companies in the state. And with no attorneys, I used the state board of insurance to fight them.
Wow.
I used the rights that were given that I have as a resident of this wonderful state. And I won. And
Why am I not surprised? I am incredibly proud, but also if anyone was to fight that battle, it's you.
It taught me a few things. Which it was eye-opening. Just going through that experience was eye-opening. I didn't realize how, when you have a child with disabilities, right, or developmental differences, you're in two different worlds. You're in the medical model and you're in the educational model, and they're very siloed, right? And they don't often play in the same sandbox. But the parents are like, hey, our kiddos need help from both sandboxes. How can we discuss? How can we talk? Right. And so I quickly realized that, and that was interesting to me. Let's just start there. That was like, okay, I get it now. Right. And you wouldn't know that, you wouldn't think that you need to bridge the conversation between the two systems together. Correct. So, because again, this journey chooses you, so you don't know these things. I also learned, and this goes to the research, I also learned there are a lot of things that we have access to as citizens, and we just don't know until we know, right? So I had no idea in this situation. I knew I was right, and I knew that this insurance company was wrong, but I knew I did not have the money to go up against their attorneys. I knew I didn't have that. And again, through research, I realized, oh, there's an avenue through, our state boards who monitor companies, who monitor educational systems, all these systems. And I use that avenue. Um, it also taught me how to be collaborative, because I needed to pull information from ABA therapists, from speech and language therapists. I needed to pull information and resources to build my case, to put my evidence together. And it really taught me how to collaborate. And in that collaboration and pulling together, I really learned how to communicate my vision for my child. And that was very empowering, I guess, because I realized in going through that, if I want anybody else to believe in my child and see past his disabilities, I'm going to have to be that person first, right?
Yeah.
And so it was daunting. It was a lot. But I just knew, I followed my gut, right? And our guts are good as moms, right? Like,
Yeah.
right? We know our kids, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. But seriously, like I said, if anyone was to go through all of the steps and collaborate with all of the experts and build up this case and advocate for your son against one of the biggest opponents or biggest people to go against, it would be you, and when it would be you. For parents who are just beginning to suspect their child may need additional support, what are like some of the first steps that you recommend for them?
So, there are many different avenues. The first thing I'm going to say is, tell them to breathe, and it's okay, right? Remember, we all need a little bit of help and support, right? I don't know anybody except for my oldest who wakes up with no alarm, but most of us need an alarm, maybe a couple snooze buttons to get up in the morning. So there is no shame in support. There's no shame in help. Every single human on this planet needs help and support every day to survive, right? So that mindset shift, depending on where you are, if you're 0 to 5 and your child is not in a program, say you're at home, your child is ages 0 to 5, Child Find is there. They're usually, you can look them up. They're at different libraries all across the city, and they do free screenings. Talk to your pediatrician. That's another avenue to go to. If they are in a program, talk to the teacher, talk to the school. If they are in a program and they're in the school, put it in writing. When I say talk to them, request the evaluation in writing, because if it's not in writing, it didn't happen, just an FYI. So that's just a little thing that we know. But the first thing is, I think for the hardest part for a lot of parents is accepting the fact that, okay, I do see something, but I'm concerned, but I don't want to be concerned. And especially parents of color, right? Because it's hard, because that's just another layer of what we have to deal with in this world. So, but recognizing that getting help and getting support is the best thing in the bigger picture, in the grand scheme of life.
Yeah, if it's not a writing piece is so valid. So a lot of those conversations, even following up and recapping it in an email, like per our conversation, just to keep everything in writing is so important in this process. I've learned that the hard way.
Mm.
So along this journey of helping so many families, What's one piece of advice you find yourself giving over and over again?
I actually have two that I find myself saying. The first one is my little tagline that I always say: "You have a PhD in your child. You
Mm,
may not have a PhD in anything else, but you have a PhD in your child." So when you go in as an advocate, know that you are, as if you're already in the IEP meetings or IFSD meetings, you know your child. You carried that child. You know that child. You have a PhD in your child. So lean into that knowledge. And the knowledge that you have is the most important knowledge. Okay. The second thing is something that I learned from my mentors in this. My husband and I were blessed to have friends that we still, their son um, was diagnosed while the husbands were going through business school, and he's now like working, graduated from college. Amazing mentors that we have. And I remember they took us out to dinner at the very, very beginning just to kind of check in with us because we were like, huh? Right? Like completely overwhelmed. And they said to us, "Your everyday is going to be volatile. Don't focus on the everyday. Focus on the bigger trajectory." And I'm doing this because this is exactly what he said. He said, if you focus on the everyday, this is how your mental is going to be. But if you focus on the trajectory, if you focus on the fact that we were here, but wow, we've come this far and we're still trending up, that's where you need to focus. That will keep you encouraged and keep you going. And that is so true. That was a huge, like, because I was focused on the everyday. I was like, this is, I was like, this is crazy. I
yeah.
don't want to do this anymore. Get me off this roller coaster, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then Sony said, like, focus on the overall trajectory. I was like, wait, you're right. Like, yeah, we are actually trending up. Okay. Okay. Right? Mindset shift.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's such a good reminder. It's so easy to get caught up in the day to day
Mm-hmm.
of life in general, but especially when you're parenting, and it's even more when you're parenting a child with developmental differences.
Mm-hmm.
How can parents feel more confident speaking up in IEP meetings or evaluations? I know that it can often feel like you're one person, or maybe if your partner is there, you're two people against this table or this room full of people. Do you have any tips to help parents feel more confident speaking up in those scenarios?
I do. First is, again, remember my first piece of advice: you have a PhD in your child. So lean with that. The second thing is, and I'm going to plug who I work for. I work for StarNet, right? And so we help parents in early childhood special education. We have free webinars, free events. There are a lot of other resources, which I found out at my first DDRF, which was amazing. That have a lot of free resources to help you, to give you those shortcuts. If you're not like a research nerd like me, and you're not able to sit and go down those rabbit holes, totally understand. But there are free resources out there to where you could go get a webinar. You can go listen real quick to an on demand, and you can get some tips really quickly. So look, come to DDRF and find those resources. Um, Also, never IEP alone. And
Mm,
that doesn't mean you have to hire an advocate, right? First of all, advocacy should be free. I'm just going to put that out there. I've never hired an advocate. So there's that. But I have had a person who knows me and knows my emotional threshold, and knows my triggers, come with me in an IEP meeting. Also, a person who knows my child
mm,
and has a different lens. And that just is that person who can, like, say to the IEP team when I'm not able to say to the IEP team, maybe I don't have the words, and that person sees me getting emotional. Hey, can we take a break? or, they squeeze my hand under the table or something of that nature. Just somebody that grounds you, or that can say, if I don't feel like my words are landing with the IEP team, that person can come in and say, actually, I've seen this child in this sitting, and this is what I have seen. So, and that can be a friend, that could be a relative, that could be an outside related service provider, speech, OT, PT, that could be a former teacher, that could be anybody. But I can go into anybody's IEP and advocate for them. But in my own IEP, I still need help because it is emotional. It is emotional. And I especially say that for parents who have, like, my oldest he actually has a triple diagnosis. He has autism, epilepsy, and ADHD. So when I say we're in the educational, therapeutic, medical model of it all, and oftentimes, and I know I'm speaking to those parents who have those medically complicated multiple diagnoses, you find yourself oftentimes trying to help people string it all together. Like, okay, yeah, but then this affects this, and then this affects this. And it can get very emotional because you're like, don't you see it? It's clear as day. But having somebody from the outside who can kind of ground you and maybe say it in a different way that maybe the IEP team's like, oh, I get it. Because we, as parents, we're going to lead with emotions. We are. We can't help it. We love our kids, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah. You just kind of segued right into my next question. Just thinking through, it sounds like having that support there so that, you have someone else that can speak to your child while not leading with that emotion. But what are some other tips that you have through like this both rewarding and overwhelming process to stay grounded through it all?
Um, take care of yourself. I learned that the hard way. Self-care is necessary.
Mm.
And we often, because we feel like there's this clock, and don't get me wrong, there is a clock. I mean, I feel the urgency, especially because, the services that you get through the school systems and everything, it ends at 22, right? So you feel this sense of urgency. You're always hearing like the deficit standpoint of your child, right? So that is very weighing, plus always the fighting and always the giving. So one thing that I have done, and self-care doesn't mean, listen, I don't have, as much as I would love to live at the spa every day, it would be great. I don't have that money. So realistically, what my self-care looks like is in my lovely little visual calendar called my Google phone. I put in 2 2-minute breathing sessions a day where I sit in my car. I think of nothing, absolutely nothing, and just welcome silence for 2 minutes and breathe. And I do that daily, and that replenishes my brain.
Wow.
And then maybe every once in a while, I get to go to a spa. Or sometimes I'm like, I'm going to make it a little fancy. I have to fold this load of laundry. I'm going to light a candle,
Yeah.
pour a glass of wine, fold this laundry, listen to some good music. I'm folding laundry, but I made it a little special for me. Do little things to take care of yourself.
Mm.
It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. That's the first thing. The second thing you said to stay grounded is to just focus on what you can control. There's a lot that you cannot control. And sometimes there's a lot of noise as it relates to the disability world. And I often tell parents, like, you see me now, right? Like, yes, I'm now professionally doing more on a bigger platform in the state in the advocacy lens of things. But in the very beginning, I wasn't. I was advocating in my home. I was doing the work and I was focused on what I can control. This journey in the disability world and the journey of advocacy was sort of presented to me. And I accepted the challenge. It's fine. But I didn't get caught up in, hearing, oh, did you hear about this? Or, oh, we should do. I just didn't. I didn't because I was like, okay, what is my main and primary focus right now? Oh, my child. I need to, our trajectory, remember? This is where we're trying to go, right? So that always keeps me grounded. Like, I'm always like, okay, before I make a decision to join this or do this, like, okay, let's go back to what is the center of all of this? My sons, they are the center of all of this. Is this something that is really productive to what I'm trying to do in my home? And if it's not, and it's just more noise and it's more emotion and it's more, then I focus in.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So to parents who might be feeling discouraged or alone, what would you say to them? Like, what's one message you have for those parents?
Well, I will say I understand it can feel very lonely, especially at the beginning. It can feel very lonely. It can. However, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And it takes a while to get to this mentality, this mindset. So I get it. There is a big, beautiful world of family within the disability community and understanding. So just if you can reach out, like, I think that aha moment for me, honestly, and I know I'm not trying to shamelessly plug, but I do remember walking to my very first DDRF. This was back when it was at Gordon Tech, and I walked in and I just sort of like, my shoulders went down and I was like, oh. And I remember my husband looking around like, oh, okay. Oh. And I was like, oh, we found our people. Yay. Yay. And so just know that there is support out there. There are families out there that understand and are willing to receive you, wherever you are, however you show up, because we get it. We get it. But I also get that sometimes it's a weird place, Sitaara. I remember that you want help, but then you kind of stay secluded because you're just so unsure of where you are emotionally, right? So it's a journey, right? And it's okay to feel those feelings. It definitely is okay to feel those feelings. Also know that those feelings come and go, right? As your child, as they grow and because I was good. And then, like, I think I told you about the hormone fairy. When the hormone fairy came to visit Luke, oh my Lord, Sitaara, I didn't know. I said, what is happening? I was like, what's going on? We're regressing. And I'm reaching out and kind of, I have friends now who, as he's getting older and travel training and independence for different things are starting, I have friends who've been there who are watching me going, hey friend, hey, we see you kind of crawling back into your shell. Like, it's okay because it's comfortable in my shell, right? So I get it. It's emotionally comfortable in my shell. It's okay to feel all the feelings in my shell, but come out of your shell and know that there are people out there who also, it's emotionally comfortable to come out of your shell and share those feelings and be amongst people who are there.
Yeah. Speaking about DDRF, we're so excited to have you. And what are you most excited to share with attendees at this year's Developmental Differences Parent Forum?
Honestly, I don't know. This is going to be the first time. I think I just want to share my story. I've been asked to share my story, and I've shared my story in bits and pieces and one-offs. Like, you know a little bit about it because we've talked with your son. So when parents come to me and, I'll share based on where, what help or resource the parent needs or anything like that. So I'll share my lived experience, but I've never been in a position where it's like, please share all of it. So I'm excited, but honestly nervous because I'm still a parent on this journey, right? And there's still parts of the journey that are very triggering that, you learn to manage those emotions, but it's still very triggering. I guess the excited part is and hopefully, if hearing our journey, and I say our because it's as much my journey as it's Luke's journey, as much it's my son Pierre's journey as well, that we're still navigating together. If it helps in any way, I don't care in whatever way, if it helps anybody, that's what I do it for. So that's probably what I'm excited is just to help someone, help another family.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. I know it's going to be a really great session, and I encourage everyone listening to join in, and hopefully we'll also have a recording of it if you hear this, in 2027, or you're listening way after April 18th, when we are actually having our 2026 Developmental Differences Parent Forum, so that you don't miss out on the experience of hearing Tareema's story and her experience on a deeper level than what we're covering right now. Lastly, I would love for our audience to get to know more about you in a quick rapid fire fun way. So
Okay.
ask you a couple of questions, and yeah, we'll just get to know about you in a more fun rapid fire way.
Okay.
All right. So early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Really? Okay. We're recording this kind of early. I'm surprised you're doing
Well, I am innately a night owl.
Okay.
But I am forced to be an early bird because of the situation that I have. But you heard me say I used to stay up all night and do research, right?
You did.
Really, there are times where I just don't sleep. But
Okay.
it's really because I'm a night owl, but then I'm like, oh, I actually have to get up.
Yeah.
I actually have responsibilities.
What's one word your friends would use to describe you?
Ooh. Intense.
Okay.
And that's in a good way or a bad way. However, it depends. I think what it is that I'm whatever energy I give, it's 100% of that energy. Like I am authentically in that energy. So, yeah.
That's a good one. That is a great one, actually. And then lastly, what's a word or phrase that you live by?
Oh, no means not yet.
I love that.
I have walked away from many of situations where it's like no, and I go okay, and then I go back and I do my night owl thing and I stay up, right, and I research and find the law, and then I go and then I go back and I was like, oh, so you meant not yet? Because see, this is what I have. This is what I come with.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I want to put it on a T-shirt, on a bumper sticker. No means not yet.
Yes.
I just haven't had a chance to educate you yet, is what it means.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to let us get to know you better, Tareema. Listeners, I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. check out our show notes for links to learn more about StarNet, and then also to find the link to register for the 2026 Developmental Differences Parent Forum, along with some links to MPN's collection of resources, including our parent support group, parent educational webinars, and our online developmental differences resources directory. You also mentioned Child Find, so I'm going to find some links to that. That was one that I
Yes.
had not heard of yet, so I want to throw in some of the links that you mentioned while we were speaking as well. But everyone, take care, and we will see you around the neighborhood.
Yes, hopefully see you at DDRF. Thank you, Sitaara.
Yay!